Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Badman Reviews, and today I'm going to be talking about my first impressions on Animal Crossing Amiibo Festival. Now, to be truthful, I couldn't think of anything to talk about this week for first impressions until I thought of Amiibo Festival, and it took me a while. And I haven't really touched on everything in this game, so it is definitely a first impressions, but I have played the board game multiple times, and I have played a few of the mini games, so let's kind of talk about it. Now, Amiibo Festival is a kind of board game mini game, well, not really mini game, but board game style thing like Mario Party, but not exactly the same. So it requires amiibos, and it requires the Animal Crossing cards, for the mini games at least. You don't need them. You don't need them for the board game, but you do need Animal Crossing amiibos to play the board game. Now, when you buy the game, it comes with 2 amiibos currently. Sooner or later, it's going to only come with 1. And you use these amiibos to select your character that you play as in the game. When you start off the game, everyone starts at the same place in the middle of the board, and you put your amiibo on it to roll the dice, just kind of like a Mario Party 10. Now, the thing is, there's no really mini games in this. The whole point is to get the most happiness by the end of the game and have the most amount of money. So, depending on what month you select, different special events can happen. Like December has Christmas events, and October has a Halloween event that lasts kind of like the whole month where you collect candy. There's a lot of different events like that depending on the month that you choose. Now, when you go across the board, there's multiple good and bad spots, which can either take away money or happiness, or can give you money or happiness. Now, and then at each corner of the map, there are different stamps, areas that you can get stamps, and if you get every single stamp, then you get a huge chunk of happiness, which is like 30 points. For getting all the stamps, which, like, it's something you should probably do, because it's really a make or break it kind of thing. But I find like most of this game doesn't really revolve around what you land on and how good you do. Yeah, there's a little bit of luck here and there, but the biggest thing about this mini game is that every Sunday you can buy turnips, and then as the week goes by, you can land on spaces, and each space has a certain amount of money that you can sell those turnips for. So you want to sell your turnips for the most amount of money possible and not lose any money on the turnips you bought. So if you get lucky and you buy your turnips for $80 and you land on something that'll give you $200, $300, $400 for those turnips that you bought, you're gonna make a ton of money back on them and be really far ahead of your teammates. And then the next week comes by, next Sunday, then you can buy even more turnips than your friend can, and that friend is just totally screwed because you're gonna sell those turnips. Even if you sold those turnips for the amount, like a little bit more than what you bought them for, you're still gonna be ahead of that guy. So there's not really any kind of like, it's a fun board game. It's fun to play with your friends, but it's nothing like crazy and awesome like Mario Party was, with mini games and all that kind of stuff back in the old Mario Party days, where it wasn't Mario Party 10 looking at my game and being like, what are you? Why are you there? You suck. Just kidding. Kind of. The only really good part was Bowser Party. But I have to say, the board game, it's fun. I enjoy it. Every time I play it, I have a good time playing it. I would have loved if they put mini games in it. There's mini games in the game, but they're not part of the board game. Another thing is the Animal Crossing cards that you can buy can be used in the game to put new residents into the town. So when you put new residents into the town when you're playing on a board game, you'll see them walking around, or you'll see them pop up when you land on a space. When you land on a space, it'll pop up like, if you land on a happy space, it'll be like, oh, I went to the store today and they had that thing I really wanted, and it'll show like someone from your town in the store with you, giving you the thing you want. So you can put kind of whoever you want out of the amiibo cards into your town. You can also buy features for the town, which can be anything from like a police station, or a playground, or a pool, or just like a park bench. And placing these in certain areas on the board will unlock, like, will add new routes that you can take, kind of expanding the board. But there's only really like one board. Yeah, if you're in December, it's snowy. If you're in summer, it's fall. But no matter what you do, it's the same board every time, unless you add more features, which will kind of expand the board and add new routes that you can take. But the still like standard route is there. So there isn't much variation in boards, which kind of makes it a little bit boring after a while. The mini games, on the other hand, the few that I have played have been kind of fun. They're not, most of them are some that you won't play a lot. There's one where you can play it with friends, and it's basically kind of like a pachinko machine, I guess, where there's a bunch of balloons and you have to put a card down on the amiibo thing, and then you wait, and then you pull the card up when you want to drop your amiibo, your character, and it falls and it hits the balloons, and you want to hit as many balloons as possible and then land on this little floating island that goes back and forth. And if you land on, then there's multipliers, so if you land on the top, you'll get like a times 10 multiplier, and it'll multiply the balloons that you got by a ton. And then the person who got the most points at the end wins. That one was fun. There's a whack-a-mole one. There's a couple other ones that I didn't really play. But the main one in there is Animal Crossing Island Escape. I forget the name of it, but it's like an island escape. And you pick the characters that you want using your Animal Crossing cards, and it puts them onto the island, and all these characters have different stats. So some characters can move faster, and some characters can move faster in water, or some characters don't have to, like, at the end of each night, everyone gets together in one spot and camps, and then they have to start from that spot at the beginning of the next day. But you can have like a lone wolf who doesn't have to sleep with everyone else, and he can kind of go wherever he wants without having to go back with everyone else at the end of a night. And there's a bunch of other cool stats. Some characters need to eat more at the end of a night. Some characters like a specific type of fruit, or will find a specific type of fruit more often, or they can beat up enemies faster. So the whole point is that you get put on an island, and you have to travel through this island and find different items to escape. So you can find rocks and sticks and stuff to make shovels and slingshots and bug nets to help you collect food and beat enemies. But the main thing you want to collect is 3 logs and a sail, which will make you your raft. And once you make your raft, you've beaten that level. And then the more points you get, puts you higher up on the leaderboards. It's surprisingly really fun, and I really enjoyed it. I haven't really played like the more intermediate or adapt levels, like the harder ones. I've only played like the beginner ones, but from what I've played, it's actually pretty fun. Some of the levels do get kind of difficult too, because you really need to plan out. I guess if you don't have the right amiibo cards, you're kind of screwed. Because there are certain levels where there's stuff hidden on little islands that you need to reach with a swimmer, and only swimmers can reach these islands. Like, people who walk on land can't swim to get to the islands. But the other thing is, if you have a swimmer, they can move 6 spaces at a time, which is like the farthest any character can move. But if they're moving on land, they take 2 turns to move. So in turn, like, if you're on land, then that character can only move 3 spaces. But if they're in the water, then they can move 6. But you need these like frog characters, or any character that can swim, to get to these islands to check those areas for items that you need to finish the level. So if you don't have the right amiibo cards, you can kind of be screwed. But I thought it was a great idea. My girlfriend has a decent amount of amiibo cards, so we weren't really kind of in need of anything. Like, she has maybe about 28 out of the possible 100 you can have. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. It was probably like, I would love to have a game like that expanded on, to be truthful. I'd love to have an Animal Crossing game like that, but expanded, or just any game like that expanded. It was really fun, and I enjoyed it. The board game, on the other hand, it could have used mini games. Mini games would have made it so much better, so much more fun. But sadly there was not, and it just kind of, it does get stale after a while. And some of the months are like really bland. Like, there's some months where it's like there's something to do all the time, like December and Halloween, and surprisingly, I think it's August or something. Yeah, August, there's like a fireworks festival every week. But there's like some weeks, there's some months, surprisingly, like I think it was July or something, where it looks like there's a lot of stuff. But you get to that day and just nothing happens, and if you land on a space, there'll be like a special pop-up like, oh, I went out to a party on New Year's Eve, but there's no really like New Year's like events that happen. So some of the months can be kind of bland and you don't really end up playing them, but who knows? Maybe they'll add more to the game later on. Probably not. I'm going to be truthful. I definitely wouldn't say pick it up. If you're a fan of Animal Crossing, you like Animal Crossing a lot, yeah, I'd say go out and pick it up. If you like board games and Animal Crossing, it's definitely a good buy. But it's not something I would definitely be like, go out, get it, it's awesome, it's so much fun. So hopefully, I hope you guys enjoyed this first impressions and kind of got a feeling for how the game is. And until then, I'll see you guys in the next video.